Let's get ready to go ahead and get started real quick. Let me go ahead and give a quick disclaimer, tell you where you at. You are at Coming of Age. This is a part of our Make a Culture Move podcast series. This is Coming of Age with Huff. This is a space where we discuss the issues that young adults face in society today. So, I am very thankful for everybody that's already tuned in. Like I always tell y'all, if you're watching on my page, that's dope. If that makes you feel real comfortable, that's cool. But I urge you to jump off of my page and type in that search bar, go to Facebook. You can go follow Make a Chess Move. You know what I'm saying? I want you to go do that. And then after that, you can go watch this on Make a Culture Move. Malcolm right there. You can go to that Facebook page. You can tap in there. Make sure you go follow there as well. Share. I'm not the only person that gets up here and shares some dope ideas. G, who is on the screen, who we will have her introduce herself. You know what I'm saying? She's always sharing gems on the Malcolm podcast. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to go check that out. Make sure you go head over to our website at www.makeachessmove.org. Please make sure that you go check that out. Head down to the donation tab. Go donate if you want to. If not, share that donation to your network so we can spread the word amongst everybody. Already shared, you can get us at Facebook with www.facebook.com/Macam303. Same thing goes with Instagram /Macam303. Same thing goes with Twitter. I'm talking about /Macam303. Lastly, but certainly not least, Pinterest. I'm talking about Pinterest. So super, super dope to have everybody here. As I said, I'm Huff. You know what I'm saying? I'm the host of the show. But real quick, I'm gonna let my sis introduce herself. G, go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up, people? So, I'm G, with our Malcolm Make a Everything Move. You feel me? I'm part of it all. So, I'm just here, with my brother Huff in this space that he's created. It's a beautiful space for us to, just come and talk about the things that's challenging us or hindering us or even uplifting us for our generation.
Real life. I appreciate you, sis. You know what I'm saying? She tapped in with me. We go way back, y'all. I don't remember life without knowing you as far back at this point now. So it's dope. You know what I'm saying? I met you early. I'm talking about Columbine.
Way back. We
talking about Columbine. So I don't even know life without knowing you and the fam. So
always been my big bro.
We always been locked in. We always gonna be locked in. So, I had to bring her into today's discussion, because over these past couple of days, I've been watching a lot of old stuff. And when I mean old stuff, I'm not talking about old movies. I'm talking about documentaries and docu-series that's about OGs, gang wars, just about society in the past. And the reason I do that is because, I like to study what's the difference between me, my generation, versus those before us. And, you can go on the list and name a bunch of different things, but one thread that's always stood out to me that I think people don't really realize, especially our age, is the power of technology. I think what really separates us from our grandparents, our parents, our great-grandparents is the fact that we are technology babies. And what does that mean? They talk about Google. You know what I'm talking about? That's cool. Google's the most powerful, search engine and source of information that mankind is known. That's dope, you know what I'm saying? But social media, I think, is the greatest, most powerful, singular effect that you can talk about that impacts our generation. And what made me realize is if you talk to your parents, they'd be like, oh, y'all want to run everything to Facebook, everything to Twitter, everything to Instagram. And the generation before us is always speaking of how different social media has, how it's impacted us versus how it never existed in the space that they were in. So I want to take some time to, this is definitely going to be a two-parter because there's a lot of elements to this. But, I just got to thinking of what are some things that social media has produced for our generation? How has it affected our culture? What has it done that, how have we taken this tool, these platforms, and consumed it, and how does it affect us? So I started out to make a list, but the ones I think that affect us really at the grassroots level are that we all can feel. That I came up with a list of 3 things. I'm gonna expose each one as we talk about them. But first, I want to talk about exposed culture. And what I mean by exposed culture is that in today's age, in our social media, you can get caught up in your tracks quick. Every other day we see an athlete that tweeted something racist back in the day, and next thing you know, he's starting to get that mega contract, or he's trying, you know what I'm saying, get an endorsement or something. They're like, nah, bro, you said them words. And then even when it comes down just even in the neighborhood, like, you know what I'm saying, people be trying to portray one thing or say one thing, but you can go to their Facebook and see a whole other thing, and you can expose them based on what they said. You know what I'm saying? So talking about that, you know, how do we see that as a pro? Do we see exposed culture? Is there a positive to that? Like the fact that you can get exposed for something you said, something you posted, something, you know what I'm saying, you sent to someone.
It can be.
Yeah, let's speak on that.
It can be a pro. You know, I think in the manner that it's used, it's mainly used in a negative, you know, manner. But I feel like it can be a pro, and by that I mean, you know, it's good to know the people who is fraudulent out here. You want to know them things, like people who ain't true to their word and is hypocrites and is saying one thing, you feel me, on the book, but doing something different out in the streets. You know, like you want to know them type of things. I mean, at least I want to know them type of things. You feel me? I want to know who's fraudulent, because it's so many people who are nowadays. So I think it can be a positive type of thing, but at the same time, it causes a lot of friction and conflict, because people don't like to be exposed. People don't like to be exposed, whether it's the truth or not, you know. And I think people who get exposed and they're being lied on, you know, that speaks to you yourself. If you know it's a lie, you shouldn't react and have no reaction to it. You shouldn't even entertain it at all. And if it's the truth and it's something that spots the light on you in a negative manner, be man enough, woman enough to address it and talk about it. But people don't like to be exposed. Exposure is detrimental to some people.
It is detrimental. So what, you know, I'm trying to think of like, what are some examples of when exposure is cool? And you know what's crazy is, you know, I'm gonna dig deep, and I meant to do this in the beginning. Quick disclaimer: anything that's said in here, you know what I'm saying, this is our opinion, this is our truth, this is from our expertise, this is our lived experience. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, this is a free think space. You know what I'm saying? We go say what's on our mind. We go say what's on our heart. You know what I mean? So if you got a problem with anything, jump in my inbox, say what you got to say, and you may be able to come jump on the show. You never know. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead and speak your truth. But to all the viewers, you know, this is interactive. So get in these comments and give us your opinion. So this is where I'm going to go with this.
I got an example, but go ahead.
Okay, I'll give you an example first, because I feel like we might be on the same track. So go ahead.
Okay, so an example of positive exposure, in my opinion, right? You know, coming from, you know, the streets, people, you know, in the hood or whatever, in a situation of that snitching, right? Okay, you feel me? In a situation where 2 or more homies go down for a situation, it's important to know which homie snitched, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's important to know which homie was the one that was telling, for the simple fact, we need to know those things, because you live in that lifestyle, you lead in that lifestyle, you're not supposed to be no snitch. That's the lifestyle you live. So now you're a hypocrite.
That's real life.
Because you feel me? You out here snitching when the lifestyle you lead is a no-tail policy. That's positive.
And I'm with you on that. See, and that's what I'm saying. We was on the similar lines. I'm gonna take it even a little more extreme than that. You know.
Okay.
In our generation, we got a lot of undercover brothers, and it's just the real. We got a lot of brothers that's on the down low. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not here to pass no judgment on nobody's sexuality, none of their preference. I'm here to pass some concern on your display of it. You know what I mean? Because this is 2021. We got being gay, being bisexual, it is accepted in a lot of spaces, and even in spaces, speaking to the hood right now, ain't nobody regulating, enforcing, really, you know what I mean, making sure people are staying to that quote unquote code of whatever sexuality may be. But let's talk about that, like, as a woman. You know what I mean?
That's important. I don't care what nobody says. That's positive exposure. It's important. You feel me? I'm not passing no judgment on anybody's sexuality, but I think what so many people tend to overlook when it comes to being acceptive of the gay community, the LGBTQ, the whole alphabet people, right? Is that it's your sexual preference. It's your sexual preference, and everybody's sexual preference should be kept private because your sexual life isn't the world's business.
Yeah.
But the world we live in today, it is. Yes. So it's it's if we could get back to that having class about sexuality and just sex in general. There's no class when it comes to sex. So it's like I don't have no problem with anybody who's gay. But you need to state that, because me as a straight woman, I don't want to be involved with a bisexual man. I don't want to be involved with a bisexual man. I just don't. I don't want to be with a man who used to be a woman. I don't. As a woman, I don't. Now, that doesn't mean we can't be friends. That doesn't mean we can't kick it. You feel me? That doesn't mean any of that. It just means my sexual preference that I need you to respect. I don't want you to. I need you to respect it. Is that I don't want to be with a bisexual man or a gay man, like sexually. I don't. We could be friends. We could kick it. We could do all of that together. I'm down with it. But as far as in a sexual way, I want a straight man. I want a man who only likes women.
And that's for real. And I think that's what I was going to say. I think both of those things is like, what I like about exposed culture is it is beneficial, where it's like you can be a fraud out here, like, because we're going to get to that, like you can do catfishing and all that, and that'll be our next section. But to a certain extent, in like a micro and a smaller sense, you can't really live fraudulent out here. Like, people see you on Facebook, people see you on Snapchat, and then they get to see you out here in the streets. Well, non-COVID pending, but it's just the idea of, especially if you're in the streets, like all that telling, you know what I'm saying? Eventually somebody go get a hold of your paperwork. And eventually that's going to make its way to the hood. And that is a benefit because, like you said, we can't be having informants in the neighborhood. Either way you look at healing gang violence, turn into the people, the ones that hate us, is never the answer. And I think for women, that's big because, you know what I'm saying? It goes both ways, but really for the down low brothers out here that are swinging both ways and putting women at risk, some serious ass diseases, you know what I'm talking
about?
And
it's a trust thing, it's like, I want to be able to trust you. So if you're gay, then say that and own that, own it. Okay, I want you to own it and be proud of that, because then in that way I can accept you better. I can't accept you when you're lying about it and being undercover about it. Why we got to be undercover about it, especially in today's society? In today's society, it's just no respect in hiding it, because in so many spaces it's acceptable. Even if in certain spaces it's not acceptable, you can leave that uncomfortable space and go find a space where it is acceptable, because so many people accept the culture now. So it's so prevalent right now in today's time. It's 2021, right? Like you said, it's 2021.
That's for real. And if you are tuning in real quick, this is Coming of Age. You know what I'm saying? You are with G and E Huff. We are discussing some of the issues that young adults face in society today. And in particular, we are talking about the effects of social media and how that's affected our culture and what it's produced. And one of those subcultures that we are discussing first and foremost right now is exposed culture. So G, you really put us in a good position to transition where you talk about, there's no like secrecy. And I feel like one of the negatives when it comes to exposed culture is the idea of, there's no privacy. There is almost like, it's so hard to trust people, you know what I'm saying? Because this is the thing is, I grew up, this is just like being real, you know what I'm saying? You're in middle school, high school, you know what I'm saying? People sending pictures, you know what I'm saying? People sending little videos, doing things like that, you know what I'm talking about? And then at a certain point, people start getting exposed crazy, you know what I'm saying? And then then everybody, as they got older, start putting a fence up. So then by the time you was in 10th, 11th grade, unless it was like one of the more promiscuous women, you wasn't just getting nudes like that unless it was from a girl that like really trusted you or like really liked you, or unless she was just out there.
And that's integrity. That's integrity. Solely to integrity, because it's like, regardless on both ends of female, male, you feel me? If someone trusts you and is comfortable enough with you to share that type of explicit nudity with you, and that's something you don't have to share with anybody else. And if there's a point in time where y'all are no longer cool and you feel me, the ties end, then you have that respect enough to delete them.
For real. And that's the real spill. And that's the real spill is you gotta have that integrity piece. But when it comes to that integrity piece, that trauma gets passed to adulthood. You know what I mean? So now it's like, even when you starting to have like adult like relationships and like there's a level of intimacy, you'll find that a lot of people are afraid to even use that form of intimacy, whether it's using that technology, like we said, when it comes to, using platforms to, share privacy and intimacy. They're afraid of that because we've used social media as a tool. You know what I mean? We've used that as a weapon against people when it comes to their privacy, to the things they want to do. So it's like, how do we heal that? Like, how do you vet that integrity? You know what I mean? Because people give hype to expose culture. That's the thing, is like, every time somebody's exposed on Facebook, we share it, we recirculate it, we like, we like it, we send it to other people's inbox. Like, how do you vet that? Like, how do you know if someone's got that kind of integrity? Like, or, is this just an era where you can't trust people?
That's a hard one, Huff, because it feels like it's an era where you just can't trust people. That's what it feels like, because almost everybody is on the same bullshit. Like, almost everybody's on the same bullshit, right? And that's like coast to coast. I ain't just talking about in the box, right? I'm talking about like coast to coast. This exposure culture happens everywhere because we get stuff goes viral. Not everything just happens in the state that you're in. You're getting stuff from here and here and here and everywhere. So that it's a hard one, because it's that you have to unteach things that have been taught.
Yeah.
And what makes that hard is sex is so exposed and open and accepted in today's society. It's hard, because like you want to have that respect. You got to teach people when you're dealing with somebody, you respect. That's what it comes down to, is respect between two. But sex is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like you can't look left or look right and not see it or know that it's around, especially when you lose your virginity and you see life through the lens of sex.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
It changes everything. It changes everything.
It does. It changes everything. Once you start seeing life through the lens of sex, it changes everything. And so it's like, right now, I'm trying to teach to my little brother, you feel me? Wait till marriage. Right. Like, just wait. Like, you feel me? Talking about you don't want to have kids, this, that, or the third. You feel me? Wait till marriage. It prevents a lot of things that goes on, but soul ties, diseases, babies, and unwanted babies. And I don't want to say unwanted, but unwanted, because so many people get caught up in a situation and a baby comes out of it, but y'all are not even an established thing, and now there's a child involved. So it's a lot that goes along with the culture of sex. And it's crazy, because when you start seeing life through the lens of sex, you see it in different ways. It's like, me personally, and I know this might contradict some of the things I say, I would be a nudist if I could. I would be a nudist if I could. One, because you feel me, when reading the Bible, that initial context is God intended for us to walk around nakedly. That's how he intended for the world to be. And if it wasn't for sin, you feel me, that we wouldn't know to wear clothes. And I think that body shaming, the stigma of what beautiful is, like body beautiful is, you feel me? All of that plays a role into the sex culture. Yeah. And like, it's a lot of things that have to be unlearned. Like, people have to understand all body types are acceptable. Should people be fat and overweight and obese? No, but we got to work on that. Should we body shame them and make them feel even worse about themselves, because I'm sure they already feel bad? No, we shouldn't. But should we just be allowing sex to be everywhere, to where even the children are not censored from it? No, we gotta set boundaries. There has to be a boundary line that's set, and that goes along with integrity and respect.
And I'm here to tell you, trying to find that vet people through that, especially with like social media, and like you really transitioned us into the next section real quick, where it goes to, very true, soul ties are real, and a baby for sure. And like, what you talk to, G, is like, when it comes to social media and it comes to that sex culture, what I find unique also is like, when it comes to like trying to vet people for that integrity, I have a system that I used to have that kind of fell on its face. You know what I mean? I used to be like, okay, if I'm gonna talk to a female, you know what I mean, to know that she may not be wild and just on that extra stuff, and she might be for real, I'm gonna go on her Facebook, and depending on like what she shares and like the things she's into, that'll gauge it. But then that fell on its head because you'll come across, you know what I'm saying, a girl who shares promiscuous stuff who's prude as hell. You know what I mean? That is that don't end even really with that. But like that goes to speak to like when it comes to social media, this idea of like connectivity. You know what I mean? The idea that we are able to connect with people like, for instance, my last girlfriend I had stayed in Aurora, and I met her through the book, like just to be honest, and I had never, ever, ever met her before. Like never crossed tracks with her, like whoop to whoop, just went on a date. Next thing you know, relationship spurred, whatever the case may be. So it's like that idea of this idea of connectivity, and then even factoring in, you know what I mean, that sex culture and all that, like our ability to be able to be connected with so many people. And in our culture, through exposed culture, we fetishize sex, and that's embraced. Is that connectivity working in our favor, or because we've allowed lust and so many other things to drag us down, now the ability to connect with so many people is backfired on us?
I think, that connectivity that social media has allowed us to have has really dismissed the stranger danger idea, right?
Mm,
It's dismissed it kind of almost completely, because it's you meet somebody on social media that you've never met before in person. That is technically a stranger. You don't know this person. You don't know anything about this person, their background. You don't know they could possibly be a serial killer. They could be crazy. You could be buku loco, or they could be the greatest saint in the world. You don't know, you feel me? But and that is all about you and your upbringing.
mhm.
Because even though we was taught with that stranger danger thing, I was also taught that respect is given to almost any living thing. And so
Yeah.
on a respectful, to be respectful, I don't like to dismiss anybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So and you never know when you're entertaining angels. So sometimes I find myself entertaining
That's for
petty
real.
conversations with people that I've never met before and I'm meeting them through social media. And that lust plays a big factor because everybody everywhere is lustful.
Yeah.
So it's how strong are you and who you are to eliminate that lust factor when connecting with somebody through social media.
And see, and that's the thing, and that, oh gee, you really hit the nail on the head, because that's why this is such a deep question. Because it's like, if we were using this connection for like, okay, I'll put it in an example like this. I recently have been really, messing around with LinkedIn, and it's just crazy how LinkedIn is a completely different social media platform that is used for like business purposes and connect people on things like that. You know what I'm saying? And how it's used and how beneficial it is. But like in other social medias, we've allowed all the negativity of our culture. And I don't want to put lust in the negative box, because lust is an emotion that human beings feel. But if it's not controlled, I don't care what faith, what religion, what identity you are. The truth is, reality check for anyone, if you don't control your lust, it's go to your demise. Like that's just the facts
Period.
of being a human being. But real quick, my boy Brandon said we are too comfortable with meeting people on the internet. What you think about that? Do you feel like that's true, G? Because I personally think that it can go both ways. You know what I'm saying? I think right now it's on the side of it's a little too much, because you know what I'm saying, people are portraying so much different on Facebook. But it's like at the same time, though, like you said, that stranger danger is to a minimum. So I don't know. It's hard to say. What you think, G?
People are super comfortable with meeting people on the internet nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
and that also speaks to what type of person you are, though. What
Mm-hmm.
type of person are you? Because like me as an introvert, I don't really want to meet nobody that off the internet. But at the same time, I'm adventurous, so sometimes and I get bored. So sometimes I do want to meet somebody out there. Like, you feel me? Let's see where this can. But I have, and you feel me? Real life story, y'all. I almost got abducted.
Mm.
Well, I don't know if that was gonna happen, but I felt like that's what was gonna happen, and I had to fight my way out of the situation.
Hey, as long as you're here.
And look, y'all, but stuff like that happens when you just meet people off the internet and you don't, know their full background. So I think we are too comfortable. I think that grows with just growing up. But just growing up, you get to a point where you be around the same people your whole life, and you feel me, everything is the same and it's just repetitive. You want to meet new people, and people off the internet are new people. They come from a complete
real to speak to that real quick, G. That's so real, especially when you grow up in certain pockets of the city, like in the East Side. Like we in the East Side, a lot of people don't understand is that for a lot of us, that was a box. Like unless our parents took us out of that box, we was just in that box. So like the idea of getting out and messing with people from Aurora, Green Valley, Montbello, a lot of us ate that shit up because in the East Side, we was taught it's the East or nothing. You know what I mean? So that's for real.
I remember when we first moved from the East, and it was like,
and it's weird when you live in East Side here, East Side here, like, and I'm sure it's for the same for people who move from Aurora, Montbello, and come to the hood or move around.
Right.
That's anywhere. Denver being so secluded. But Jayla says, I feel like it's 50-50. People also take social media so seriously that they put their entire life out there. So yeah, there may be a stranger, but you can also know everything about someone. The issue I feel is social media allows people to live a whole life that isn't reality. And that's when it's dangerous because people really live this life on social media and that's not really them. Clap, snap on that one. I feel you on that one because that's just what I was going to speak to next with connection is the idea of catfishing. And I'm not even talking about like, not even hardcore catfishing. I'm talking about like soft catfishing. Like you'll see some cats. Like I grew up with some of y'all. You feel me? No disrespect to some of y'all's gangster, but like I grew up with some of y'all. I know y'all's first name. You know what I mean? I know your brothers and your grannies and all that. You know what I'm talking about? So y'all grow up. Some of y'all to be super gangsters. You know what I mean? Like these crazy killer predators on Facebook. But like I know you in person, and you really not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like your history don't show you like that. You know what I'm saying? But you portraying that out here to the people, you know what I'm saying, on Facebook. And then that goes two ways when they're talking street culture. That can get you killed. You can be in the wrong space with one of them real killers and he done seen you chomping on the book. But then I just see so many people fall in love and get caught up with that identity. And G, to speak to what you were saying, you know, it is about getting older and understanding who you are. But people, social media is interrupting that. Social media is making people have such a hard time deciding the reality of, do I take from this world? Is this the world I want to be in? Is this the world I want to create for myself? Is this the person I am through social media? Or am I the real person I am in real life with how I interact with people and what I do? So, you know what I'm saying? Is social media, at least in my opinion, is getting in the way of that maturity process.
I think so. I think because I know people there's a point in time in my life where I too, I can sit on Facebook all day, all day, sun up, sun down. You feel me?
Yeah,
and I watch people. You feel me? I've got out of that, and I'm so grateful for it. But I watch people who they'll be bored, not doing nothing. You feel me? And will open Facebook, just look at the first post or whatever, close it back. 2 minutes later, open it right back up again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I think, I think what Jayla was saying though was so just deep and crucial though, because people you have those people, and I'm not saying don't do you, because y'all are the people who are entertained for. You feel me? I have my
let's take a pause on that. Let's take a pause and talk about that real quick, because that is something that I feel. I mean, okay, it's definitely in every city, but let's talk about that as us Denver folks here. We ain't gonna throw no names out there, but there are some particular people in our age range from this 18 to 30, especially in this pocket from 18 to 25, that are full-blown Facebook entertainers. Do we enjoy them? Are they good for us?
Are they good for us? I mean, I don't want to say they're not. I don't want to say they're not, because like on a day where you feel me, my load is heavy and my crown is really weighing me down, and I hop on Facebook and I see some comedy, it gives me a boost, and it's like, okay, I ain't doing that bad, so let me go ahead and, you feel me, get it together. You feel me? But at the same time, it's also indulging in gossiping, and that's not something you want to do. Right, you don't want to be so consumed with gossip of other people's lives. If we're always busy minding somebody else's business, who's gonna mind ours?
Yeah.
You know, so, and I think that's where it becomes dangerous, because when you have those repetitive people on Facebook who they give their whole life story, you know exactly what's going on from day to day, from the good to the bad, to the drama, to the sad, to the sun, to the rain, to the rainbow, all of that, right? And those are the people who I pray for, because I think it goes also kind of along with attention seeking. There was a point in time in my life where almost everything I was going through, because I was low, I was coming to Facebook with it, like, y'all won't believe it, y'all won't believe it, y'all won't believe it. And because Facebook, people on Facebook will gas you and hype you up either for the best or the negative. And it's like, I have a friend who, I had to tell her one time, I said, I don't like who you've become. I don't like who you've become, because the type of person that you are. Is that somebody knocking at the door? So the type of person that you are, ain't this. You exposing all your business on Facebook. You're showing so many signs of weakness, and it's breaking my heart, because this is not who you are. This ain't you. And I need to find a different outlet.
And that's my thing with Facebook entertainers. You know, I'm that's my immediate thought, is where it comes to, like, you know, I don't want y'all seeking for attention, because I feel like that's you know what I mean? I feel like that's hurting you as a person. But I feel you, like, some of y'all funny as hell, boy. You know? And this is the interesting thing about you Facebook entertainers in particular. Y'all are like the Facebook news people at the same time, because y'all entertain, like, y'all are so intertwined with so many groups of people in so many spaces. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know everything that's going on. So, like, I'm not gonna lie, the Facebook entertainer, you know what I'm saying, in the community will fill you in on everybody that's snitching.
See, and a positive way to counteract that, right?
Yeah.
Because we want to see positive change for the Black community, especially in Denver, because that's, you feel me, that's our home base. So it's like, you feel me, this shows me that all of y'all have the potential to be so much more than what it is you're waking up and doing every day. We can, from the information that we get from certain people on Facebook, we can start a Black-owned news anchor in Denver. Because these people, I mean, got the juice in the news, whether, you feel me, is facts or it's not facts, you feel me? Because that's what the news is. That's exactly what the news is. It's facts and myths, and it's up to you to figure out what's true and what's not. So I don't see why we couldn't do that. We have all these, all of these minds are also intelligent too.
Powerful.
That you know, they're so intelligent. Like, Black people, we run to comedy as a relief for our stress and our pain and everything that's going on in our lives. And Facebook has given us that platform to do it in a way where we really ain't got to be actual comedians.
Yeah,
right.
But like what Jayla said right here, this is another, like, this, you hitting us with some powerful points, where she says, I think the world is based off of nobody minding their business, which is basically, she's trying to say, like, their whole society is structured off of us paying attention to somebody else. So it's really hard to break a cycle when the world is forever in celebrities' business, which allows people to gossip, if that makes sense. And you know what I'm saying? This got doubled up, because that's on my mama. That's the realest thing, for real. Because
it is.
But this is the thing, though. This is the thing that really, like, just kills me about that, because it literally is like we're stuck in like like it's getting bashed from both sides, because we also use social media to project, you know what I'm saying, project and promote those shows, those groups of peoples. The Kardashians, Love Hip Hop Atlanta, like, that's our age range that's watching that shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's our age range, is the ones that's picking it up, that's highlighting it. But what I want to know is, like, why? Somebody got to tell us, like, we got to sit here and really get to the point of why people our age love that shit. Like, why do we love it more? Because our generations before us, they are not as nosy as we are. Were they nosy? Yes. Like, my mama's nosy. Mamas is nosies, you know what I'm saying? But they're not the level of nosy that we are into people's business. Why do we have that desire to be in people's business?
That's a deep one, and Jayla hit the nose with that. You feel me? Most people, chop that up to like 99% of the world who's not celebrities, right? Who's not celebrities are consumed in with what's going on in celebrities' lives. You feel me? That's why you have paparazzi and all of those things. And to me, like, I can't say I have a like, you know, those people who are in fan clubs and stuff like that, like that's so deep. And I've never been like that because these people don't care about my life. These people don't care about my life and what's going on in it. And if I die today, they're not going to be heartbroken and crying over me, you know? And it's like, and I get they've made it to a point, but it's like, they're still humans. That's how I look at celebrities. I look at celebrities like they're still humans. And I think the mass majority of the world doesn't see celebrities as just humans. They're just people. They have the same feelings and emotions that we have. They go through similar things that we go through. You feel me? That they might be set financially. That's the goal, to be set financially. But all the other problems, they still have that stuff. They still have arguments with their parents and with their kids and their family members. You feel me? They're still going through it. They have death that reoccurs in their family that they have to deal with and still go out and make us smile. And all types of things that we don't consider.
And that's it. And that's real. I think that's what we do, G. You hit a powerful point, is we fantasize celebrity lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like, we fantasize the idea of living like a celebrity, getting rich people problems, colliding, having money, big money issues over discrepancies. But what's crazy is in our generation is I feel like what the other generation understood about that life is that you had to put in the work first to even own, to be able to be in those kind of situations, or even just have the popularity.
So I always say, you know, you used to have to have real talent in order to be a star. But now so many people have earned that spot, you feel me, because they had the raw talent, but now they had kids and their kids are just being born into it. So our generation is looking at the older generation's kids like, well, they already got it covered. They're already doing it. When that's not it, because just because they come from a talented family don't mean they got the talent.
Real shit.
Talent is rare. Talent is rare. You have to be talented to really hit that level of success, you know, and it's changed. It's changed with today's times. But I think that's one of the things is that
hold on, since I gotta pause you real quick. I gotta pause you on that talent note, because you bring up something that I've been itching to bring up in this damn podcast. So I'm gonna bring up Jayla's point real quick, and I'm gonna lead us into this. So she says, I feel like everybody is in competition with everybody. Nobody want to rock together. Look at just local rappers and females who are successful. A lot of people don't support each other. It's always negative comments. It's sad. Our generation will be our own biggest downfall because we don't uplift each other. So pause. So this is where I want to go into this real quick. People have been able to get away with the lack of talent by hating and causing problems. And a perfect example of this is Tekashi 6ix9ine. So I want to get into this real quick. Okay. That he's not talented. No. Like, he's not nearly, like, when it comes to his profession as a rapper, I'm not gonna lie, early Tekashi, as from a bars perspective and like hype music, I was cool with. He's just always been a dork, you know what I'm talking about? But he's not making good music that, besides for the little dumb-minded youngins that, you know what I'm saying, just are a part of the hype beast, he is not talented. But because our generation is so likes drama and so fed up, him festering into hate, drama, talking about dead people, all that stuff has got this man rich. Has got this man rich.
Snitching has got him rich.
Snitching has got him rich. Why? And to speak to Jayla's point is, why is it cool for us not to uplift each other?
Yeah.
Like, in our generation, have we, you know what I'm saying? People always talk about in the 80s, they was really killing each other and all that. But the difference between the 80s and 90s in gang cultures, they had some kind of trace of unity throughout that.
Right.
These were unified groups going against unified groups. This isn't just a bunch of individuals all out here freelancing, not giving a damn about no group. There is nothing.
Killing Crips, Bloods killing Bloods, activists killing activists. Like, there's no unity at all. And I think, you feel me, of course, everything stems from slavery. You feel me? The brainwashing that they did to us in slavery, so powerful that it's been brought down genetically, right? That brainwashing has been implemented genetically into us. And that competition is real. You feel me? Like Jayla said, you feel me? Everybody's in competition with everybody rather than just being one. And, you know, we talk about it often, like, especially locally. So let's just start locally. You feel me? We have all these talented rappers, singers. We have talented dancers. We have talented artists. We have talented nail artists. We have talented hairstylists. We have talented barbers. You know, we have talented talkers, right? We have talented almost everything within our own community, yet everybody is so pinned against each other that they can't see the talent in somebody else's eye.
Mm-hmm.
They only want to see it in theirs. And so rather than banding together and being like, you feel me, like the Asians, and buying up a whole community compound from stretch to stretch and circulating the money in that way.
So I want to get to that. So let's bring that up, because Jabri brings a good point right here where he says only reason people fantasize is because we are only allowing ourselves to be exposed to what celebrities do every second of their life. But if we expose ourselves to different meanings of life, education, or health, we would not fantasize about celebrities. I'm assuming that if we expose ourselves to different aspects of life,
and family.
So I got a question. So I'm gonna ask you this real quick, and I'm gonna let you tangent it on, and I'm gonna give a quick view, and then I'm gonna let you go on it. When it comes to social media, how come the healthy aspects don't gain a lot of traction? Because like Jabri's right, you know what I'm saying? But like, for instance, this podcast, like, you know what I'm saying, not to toot our horn, but we talking about some real shit in here. You know what I'm talking about? It's an open space, it's candid, like we talking about whatever the hell we want. You know what I'm saying? This is real shit that everybody who's in the views and circulates and share can be like, okay, this is a grown folk conversation for our age range. But how come this podcast, what we do right now, is not gonna get to the level of something like, oh boy, who be eating frogs and shit? He be eating wild animals and stuff on Facebook, and y'all be cash apping him and donating him. And I'm talking about like just wild culture and just, you know, being obsessed with people who do wild stuff and have different behavior than us.
Dancing, doing improv, twerking, all of that.
Like, why isn't this stuff gaining traction? How do we get people our age to buy into these conversations, buy into health, wealth, positivity? What do we got to do?
Who's on your social media? Mm-hmm. That's what that boils down to. Who's on your social media, and that we all have the power to control that. Mm-hmm. Who is on what shows up on your newsfeed and your timeline? And I'm talking about from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you know, the Pinterest, what your YouTube, you know, what shows up on your initial timeline when you hop on. Yeah. What are you sharing? What are the people that you're friends with sharing, and the people that you're following sharing? Mm-hmm. Who do you have on yours? Because if all you have is people who are, you know, sharing their life drama stories or sharing what the next celebrity is doing right now or not doing and who wore it better, or you know, the top ranking athletes, like America has a huge problem with athletics, right? So we cannot get away from it. It's one of the most competitive aspects of being American is athletics, right? So it's like, what is showing up? Do you have motivational speakers showing up on your newsfeed? Do you have people sharing motivational speakers? Do you have prayer groups on yours? Do you have healthy food suggestions popping up? Like, you have the power to control all this stuff. And you know what's crazy? Whatever you Google in your phone, Google transfers that to your Facebook ad, and it pops up on your ad. So what are you Googling? Yeah. What things are you looking up on Google? What type of advertisements are you supporting? That's what that boils down to.
And also, real quick, to jump in there too, to bring it like even down to another base level is, and what we got to do and be real in our generation is like homie, you got to unfollow some of the homies off social media. Like some of the friends that's really like, this is like, okay, for instance, I ain't gonna throw no names, but like I'm in a period of my life where when it comes to like lust, sexual prowess, all that, as a man, I'm like, it's time to get that fully under control as I prepare to build so it doesn't become my pitfall as I'm watching some of my other homeboys. So in return to that, some of my homeboys, when it comes to like, you know, their Facebooks or like maybe on their Snapchats, Instagram, whatever the case may be, that circulate a lot of sexual posts or things that just are like sexually involved, I unfollowed them because I've understood, like, at the end of the day, when it comes to social media, that's what makes social media so crazy is it enhances the hell out of the influence that your homies have on you. It's deep as hell. Like the influence that your friends have on you is 10 times more through social media. And that's what we're finding in our generation. That's why these little dudes are crash dummies like they've never been before. They're so crash dummied out because the way that your homie has an impact on social media and the general influence of the community double downs upon you. So it's just, it's super, super powerful. And like, we got to get to the point where it's like, it does get to the point where we have to start deciding which one of our friends is sharing stuff that's sharpening us. And as young adults, we got to start making that decision with our social media. Like, I have my screen time on, and I'm not gonna share my screen time because I'm kind of, you know what I mean. I'm gonna be real. I'm embarrassed how long my screen time is. But one day I just realized, like, damn, I got all this screen time. I gotta invest and make sure that there's a lot of positivity coming in this shit. If I got this thing in my hand so much, you know what I'm saying? But like bro says right here, the internet's making people less intelligent, you know, and it's making people followers so much more. You know what I'm saying?
I want to speak to that because that less intelligent, even so real. I've always, my entire life, I have always been the grammar police, right? And people on social media hate a grammar police investigator, whatever y'all want to call me, detective, whatever. You know, someone who is so critical on the police. I mean, on the grammar, right? And I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to read incorrect grammar posts like that. You feel me? And because that's a hard one for me because now I'm confused on what you're really trying to say to me. And you feel me? I'm trying to get into being a commenter. I'm really not one who comments a lot, but I'm trying to get into that for more interaction. But if I don't understand what you're saying to me, I'm not going to ask for clarification. I'm just going to scroll past it and move on and go on about my day and pretend like I didn't even see it and keep it pushing. And so that is less, and that's just one factor of how social media is making you know the generation less intelligent because it's become so accepted to not care about proper grammar. Like
and not even just you just really hit another nail on the head. And this is something we gotta address when it comes to for our age ranges, you know what I mean? What makes us also deep that social media doesn't realize, and we gotta start addressing with our generation being real, especially when it comes to politics in the news. Like I got so many of the homies, like, you know what I'm saying, falling into that fake news bullshit. Like, bro, check your sources. And that's something that I see is really damaging the Black and brown community when it comes to social media. Is a lot of fake news. Is like when that election was going on, I was seeing some of y'all share some shit that just was completely not true. Not only about Joe Biden, but not about Donald Trump either. You know what I'm saying? And as we are responsible as a generation to understand at least a basic level of politics.
Even if you're not political, it's that understanding that you have to have.
Yeah. Real, you got to have that understanding. And Jayla real quick says, I feel like social media tests people on their intelligence. That's true. That is some real shit too. How much effort will someone put effort into validating a news post or finding out if something is real? And that is deep. And that's real when you're evaluating who your, you know what I'm saying, who your friends are on certain posts and like what they value, you know what I'm saying? As Jonte says, sources are critical. If it's on the web, it must be real.com, era, internet, bubble thought. You feel me?
My goodness.
You know what I'm saying? That's real, Jonte, because that's and
the Wikipedia generation. This is the Wikipedia generation. They believe everything that's on Wikipedia. And so that's true. I have so many people sharing their posts.
Wikipedia is more credible now because now we have Facebook news.
Yeah.
We have straight Facebook news.
Our news,
yes. Created a whole nother separate, because you're right, when we were growing up, when you was writing your papers, it was like, don't use Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not reliable. I could go find some more factual shit on Wikipedia right now. That'll be way more real.
Run to Facebook news. Exactly. See, I had to stop sharing a lot of people's posts because I would go and look into it. And I'm like, first of all, this is from 2003.
Yes.
This is from 2003. Okay, it's not nowhere near relevant to what's going on right now. And then some people's stuff, full fake news, like just completely fake news, no ounce of truth at all. And it's like, I think because you feel me, I'm guilty of it. Before I had to realize that not everybody uses common sense like I was taught to use. I was just assuming that because you feel me, if somebody shared it, they read the article. I feel like I trust you. I'm gonna trust you in this, and I share it. But now this is making me not trust people no more, and it made me stop trusting myself because now I have to actually go in and physically read these things because we just read the title. We just read the title. We become so comfortable with just reading titles, and the crazy thing with that is that you're taught in English in school that a title sometimes means nothing.
Real life.
A title sometimes means nothing. It will give you zero insight into what it is you're about to read.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can't just read the title. You have to actually read the content that's
You
brought
gotta read
along
the
with
content.
it.
And that is, and then just even on a deeper note, you know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna go deep into it, but that just goes to show that it's heartbreaking because it goes to show how many of us really wasn't engaged in school. And I'm not gonna blame us, I'm not gonna blame our age range, you know what I'm saying? Of course we hold responsibility, but like for the teachers of our generation clearly did not engage us enough to help us, you know what I'm saying, understand that we need to have that, understand the differential between what source is credible and what isn't. But as bro said, you know what I mean, people would rather watch people eating the head off of a bat. In reality, a podcast like this should be what watch. And and we go get there one day, you know what I'm saying, as a, we might have to, and that just might be something that comes of age. You know what I'm saying? As we're discussing here, one thing I will always say is some of this shit we just not gonna figure out at this
Okay, so I want to touch one though. You feel me? Because
Yeah.
we watch silly stuff like people eating the heads of bats and frogs and stuff like that. The prank videos. But one thing in our culture that we truly love and cannot get away from is fight videos.
Fight videos. We can't get away from that.
We can't get away from fight videos. We love a good fight video. It don't mean no weak fight. What did you show me? Don't show me no weak fight. We love a fight video, and that I think is one thing that's really hindering.
But we can trace that though. But see, that's the thing. That's what makes social media so powerful, because now we can even separate from social platforms. We're world star babies. That's something that people haven't even put into consideration, is that our generation literally was marked by world star. While I was at Manual, at least 3 videos I know from in that Fuller Park region was made it to world star. You know what I'm talking about? We ain't gonna discuss, but one of us on here got a relative that got some world star videos. Got multiple relatives that got world star videos. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is when it comes to that fight culture and how it's affected social media, we can talk about like world star. It was the shit. Like you walk in, world star, you see somebody get knocked out, world star, like.
Yeah, it's one of those things that becomes so prevalent in the culture that it's natural. You see, like Kobe. You know what I mean? You just said Kobe. You just naturally say. If you don't naturally say it, I know what generation you're not from. You know what I mean? Because our generation is the natural thing. Kobe, and whether you hit it or not, you shot. So you say Kobe, and that world star. You see something juicy, whether it's an argument that's gonna turn into a fight or not, or it's a fight that's busting out. You hit that world star, and everybody's in tune now. Now everybody wants to know what's about to happen, what's gonna go down. Everybody's eyes is now watching the world star event that's been popped. And that's where we came from. Like that's like, and I remember, you feel me, like I had a MySpace when I wasn't supposed to have a MySpace. My older brother wasn't supposed to have a MySpace, so I damn for sure wasn't supposed to have no MySpace. You feel me? So it's like it's where it all stems from, social media. And you talk to some of the younger kids, like my little brother. We're 10 years apart.
You don't know about no MySpace?
You don't know about MySpace? You don't know about MySpace? I had a music playing on the background of my page.
You don't know about no mixer? What y'all know about MySpace? Y'all know nothing about your top friends, you know about your top 10. That's what I'm saying. These kids don't know nothing.
It's changed. The culture has changed like significantly, and I think, you feel me, it can be positive, but it can also be negative.
I'm telling you.
I don't want to say social media is just a negative aspect for our culture, because it's not completely negative. It's not 100% negative. We do a lot of networking on social media, right? A lot of our fellow Black people are starting businesses. So you see the networking with the pop-up shops and that type of thing. That's what I love to see. I love to see that type of thing. I love to see the prayer groups and the empowering groups and the motivational groups. You feel me? Strangers coming together, but just to uplift and motivate.
And let's speak to that real quick. 2 things. One, what you're talking about, G, we're seeing the invention of Clubhouse. That's a direct reflection of our generation wanting to come together and speak business. Better. So we are growing. But one thing I want to touch on, Mark said, even stuff like the shade room is toxic to our culture. Like, that's deep, Mark, because even coming into this conversation and what we'll have to dig into as we get ready to transition to that on a part 2, is kind of talking about the sub social medias within the grand social media. Like, you know what I'm talking about when you say stuff like Shade Room, TMZ, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Our culture is literally festered on its negativity, and social media has projected that. Like, instead of highlighting our, as Jayla says right here, to bring her point is, you know what I'm saying, has been built off negativity. It shouldn't be. The Black community is full of kings and queens. We've been brainwashed into this image. Those images still today are not getting projected. But what's different, and the reason why this conversation is so unique, is because in previous times, for previous generations, the media outlets were not controlled by us. Social media is controlled by us. We are in a space as a generation where we've never been before, where we can actually control our narrative. So now,
and even when they tried to block us from controlling, because now Facebook has that Facebook jail, right? You post something that goes against the code of conduct, they'll put you in a Facebook jail a week. It streams anywhere, literally from like a 24-hour lockout to like a 90-day lockout. You could be locked out for whatever. But even still, that doesn't stop people with the social media, because you get kicked out, you get put in Facebook jail. You go ahead and you take your cleansing break from Facebook, because that's what I call it. When people go from jail to cleansing break and then come right back to the toxicity, they just go to Instagram with it, or Twitter, or Snapchat. So it's like there's when at first we didn't have all these revenues of social media now, because then when forgot mentioning, right, Pinterest, we have TikTok, right,
and YouTube. Let's mention YouTube.
YouTube for sure. You know, we have Vine, Kick, you know, all of these things.
And we can, and that's in the wrap up real quick in the last minute, we can create a hell of a list of all the social medias, from, like you said, Kick, Mogul Space, MySpace, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Tumblr. People don't even like Tumblr, Vine, TikTok now. So, like, you know what I mean? There are I just damn near named 10 social medias. Like, okay, I'm gonna bring up one that y'all probably forgot about. Periscope. People forgot, like, we was on Periscope going tough.
See, when it just started, it was like MySpace, and everybody was so crazy with MySpace. It was like MySpace, wow! And now it's like MySpace.
I don't even know my MySpace. We've come so far, and we've got to discuss that. But that's our time.
In such a short time, though. That's the thing. In such a short
time. You know what I'm saying? So that's our time. You know what I'm saying? That was, you know, in our short-lived history of coming of age, that's definitely our best show. That's definitely our best show. So I want to give a major shout out to G. You know what I'm saying? I want to give a shout out to all the people that commented. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you give a share and a follow. You know what I'm talking about? Go check out the Macam Facebook page. As I already said to you, you know what I'm saying? We are on Facebook. Make sure y'all go follow that page. Right now, there's going to be some great content delivered. Our virtual art of storytelling, our other podcast, Top to Top with King Philip. We got it all. We got more coming. You know what I'm talking about? And lastly, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know I am the owner of East End Visions. You know what I'm talking about? An apparel brand that is all about projecting a vision of love. And right now, we've got some new products available at eastendvisions.com. So if you want to go check that out, you can also cop some of these original East First hoodies and some of our new City Love hoodies. And we got more than just the East Side now, y'all. You know what I'm saying? For all my family from the ACO, Bells, and the Hills, you know what I'm saying? We got some Hills First gear for you too. So you know what I'm saying? This is inclusive. You know what I'm saying? This dream.
And y'all, I gotta check me out. You feel me? Hitting my Macam podcast coming with the spring season. It's called Make a Cleanse Move. This is it's an open space. And I mean completely open space where I just want to talk about cleansing. I just want to talk about cleansing and the healing process that we need to do. We talk about the traumas all the time. Right? We talk about the traumas all the time. All the time we you know, figure out what our traumas are. But now I just want to talk about how we heal. You feel me? I don't have the solutions. But that's what the space is for us to create solutions together as a community. And so it's time for us to heal, right?
It is
time for us to heal.
It is. Shout out to y'all, G. Thank you. Y'all make sure y'all tune in for that, because it's going to be popping, and best believe I'm going to be a guest. Much love, y'all. I'll see y'all next Wednesday.
Y'all Macam.